In this video we're going to create the explosion. Now if you remember on the flying saucer we had lots of costumes. Oh, it'd be a lot better if I was on the flying saucer. We had lots of costumes. We're going to create an explosion now, but rather than have a sprite with a load of costumes, I'm going to force you to import them just for a bit of fun. So we're going to start off by having a new sprite. And I'm going to choose exp1 and open that up. Now I don't want this to be called exp1, I want this to be called explosion. So the reason why I'm doing it this way is to give you a bit more practice on Scratch and naming items and playing around with items. And as I said, we need to import the costumes. So this costume is called exp1. Even though I name the sprite differently, it keeps its name. And we need to come down to this side because we're going to import or update all those costumes. So we're going to get exp2. Then we're going to get exp3. Whoops. Come on. Come on. Oh. I hate it when it does that. There we go. Upload exp3. Then do the same with 4, 5 and 6. So we're on 4. We're on 5. And finally 6. So that's my explosion. As you can see, the explosion sort of peters out, so big bang and then it disappears. Okay, so that's my explosion. Now I need to do a little bit of coding. So let's go on to the explosion and the code. And this is only going to happen when I hit the rocket. We're going to explode the rocket, or when I hit the bomb, we're going to explode the bomb, or when I hit the saucer. So we're going to do this a couple of times. So watch what I do very carefully. I'm going to create a new message. So in events, I'm going to put on here when I receive. And I'm going to choose a new message and I'm going to call it explode the rocket. So this is if it hits the rocket, I'm going to do a rocket explosion at that point. So just like the bullet and everything else, what I need is to take the explosion to the rocket. So go to the rocket and then I need to show my explosion. Now the explosion is a sequence of, I need to show costume 6, so I need to show all of these, okay, in order, so that looks like an explosion is happening. So let's go back to my code. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a switch costume out. I'm going to build these, so I'm going to set that to explosion 1, and then I'm going to wait a little bit of time before I switch to my next costume. So I'm going to wait about 1/10 of a second, 0.1. Now rather than keep dragging these out, I'm going to right click and duplicate. So there's 2. If I duplicate these, I've got 4. If I duplicate the bottom 2, I've got all my 6 costumes. So I need to set that to 2, set that one to 3, set that one to 4, set that one to 5, and set that one to 6. So that's my explosion occurring. So all I need to do now is just attach it to that. And obviously once the explosion is finished, I want to hide it. I don't want it to stay on the screen at all. So let's go and get the hide and make that the last command there. Now, I want to do this for the rocket, and I want to do this for the saucer and explosion. So I'm going to use the same code each time. So I'm going to duplicate, right click and duplicate all of it. Okay, let's just move that out to the left so I can get more space here. And instead of it going to the rocket, what I need to do is go to the saucer. So I need to have a new message and call it explode saucer, and I need to change that to go to the flying saucer, and then I've got an explosion happening at the saucer's place. And again, if I shoot the bomb, I want the bomb to explode as well. So let me just drag it along. I'm going to duplicate this again. Going to create a new message called explode bomb. New message, explode bomb, and I need it to go to the bomb. So that way I've got, I could do the same with the bullet, which we just won't bother with at the moment. So we'll program this up and see it working. So in the next video we will make explosions occur.